we're trying to switch off a fire hose here, which is the number of new cases that are coming out. Vaccinating the unvaccinated is the way to do that. When we're talking about breakthroughs, we're cleaning up drips off the floor. And those are very important on an individual level, but they're not a reason not to vaccinate. Vaccination still looks like our only real way out of this.
This is an amazingly effective vaccine at preventing severe disease, hospitalizations, and deaths. That was actually the promise of the vaccines. It was always why we designed the vaccines. Otherwise, there would not have been a design of a vaccine against something that did not cause severe disease. So I want us to remember the message of this outbreak. The second thing that we learned from this outbreak is that the Delta variant is very transmissible and that it has high viral loads. And what that will do is that it can lead an vaccinated person, even before their B cells, what are we called memory B cells, produce the antibodies that get into their nose to stop that infection, that can cause more mild symptomatic breakthroughs. And because of that, the CDC's recommendation in areas of high circulating virus to wear masks indoors, even for the vaccinated, is very reasonable, because this will prevent the vaccinated from getting mild breakthrough infections. But the third thing from that report that is very important is we cannot conclude that vaccinated people are equally as likely to transmit as unvaccinated people.
Although we know the vaccine is free and that many efforts have been made to make the vaccine available to vulnerable communities, there are still many barriers that exist to accessing healthcare, and those same barriers exist to accessing the vaccine. So just a couple of examples of that. One are challenges with internet access. So there are some populations that cannot get access to reliable, credible information about the vaccine, or even to be able to schedule appointments in order to be able to get their vaccine due to some of those challenges. So many of our vulnerable communities are hourly wage workers. If they don't show up to work, they don't get paid. So even taking 1 or 2 hours off of work to be able to get your vaccine, if you can only find one available during those hours when you're working, that's 1 or 2 hours that you're not getting paid. When we think about this mistrust among communities of color about the healthcare system, our trust needs to be earned. And just like any relationship, if your partner cheats on you, you're not going to immediately trust them overnight because they said, hey, baby, I'm sorry, I love you. And that's what America is doing right now. Like, we've been cheating on these communities for years and abusing them for years. And now we're like, hey, baby, I'm sorry, I love you. And we expect them to trust us. And we need to earn that trust and build that trust. And it's not going to happen overnight.
Fundamental problem here is that vaccines are given on an individual level, and individuals tend to see an individual benefit as the main driver. Vaccines do work through immunity on an individual level, but in the big picture, vaccines essentially work through mathematics at the population level. And so while a vaccination will help, there is a bigger prize here, which is that we get to end all of this nonsense with COVID going around endlessly. All the studies agree that 2 doses are more effective than 1. And this is for adenovirus vaccines and the mRNA vaccines. The difference is a little better than twofold. So 2 doses are a little bit more than twice as effective as 1, just because of the way the immune system works. When it starts going downhill, it goes downhill really fast, just like sledding in the snow. In general, in all of the studies, the adenovirus vaccines come out a little bit lower, but really not different enough to the mRNA vaccines where I would have any concerns about giving one or the other to my children or family members. At a population level, an 80 to 90% effective vaccine is an absolute godsend that would be extremely effective at ending a disease like COVID-19. I know the CDC has been, and other people have been, comparing the infectiousness of the Delta variant to other viruses. And what they're comparing those against are other viruses back before we took any precautions.
The answer is no. Get everybody vaccinated, vaccinated, vaccinated is the right answer. Remember, vaccines do not kill the viruses directly. Vaccines activate your immune system to kill the viruses. The booster dose is not called for 65 or older, nor is it called for any other group in the US right now. I think there is a timeline for the data monitored by the CDC to have continuous update of their policies. They have to see real data that show signs of possible benefit of a booster dose. Unless that shows up, I don't think they will issue the recommendation for a booster dose for 60 or older individuals.